Well, hello there.
Hi.
Are you Sean?
Yes.
Sean, nice to meet you.
Nice.
I'm Miss GoElectric.
No, nice to meet you too.
Thanks for having us today. This is an incredible facility, and I'm so excited to learn so much about it from you.
Yeah, well, thanks. Yeah, primarily our business is we take a raw frame and we allow the customer to choose the color of their frame, their fork, their fender, their chain guard, their back rack, their basket, their battery case, their rims, their type of seats and type of batteries. So they get to actually design their electric bike the way they want it online, or with one of our dealers. They'll walk into a dealer and they'll sit down with an iPad or a touchscreen and they'll go through, ask some questions, figure out what their style of riding is and get all that information. And then that order then comes through to the factory. Then we'll take that frame and their fork and all the different parts, we'll then paint them all and we'll decorate them the way that the customer has designed. Then we will prep it, we will then build it, we will test it, inspect it, and then pack it fully built in a big box, and I'll show you how we do that all, on a crate, and we then ship it either to the dealer, fully built, or to the customers. They will then turn the handlebars, tighten it, and be ready to ride. So it's certified. Each bike comes with an authentication card that shows a serial number and all our certificates, but then also who built it and who inspected it and which manager was on duty. So if the customer ever has an issue, they can actually talk to the person that actually built the bike or their inspector.
Wow.
So it's a direct relationship. We have all the parts, we have all the tools, we have all the experts, we have everybody here locally. Of course, our parts come from all around the world, but we wait until the order comes according to the customer's design, and then we build it. We're proud of that.
I mean, it sounds like you are very detail oriented. And I can actually notice that here, just coming into this showroom area, and I saw a sign outside that said that your design room is open now. And I see a huge configurator here. So people can actually come not only online and customize their own bike, but it looks like you have samples, color palettes, and a huge configurator screen to actually be able to do it here on site too, right?
Correct. You can do this either on your iPad or on your computer at home, or go to one of our selected dealers. So we call this the design wall, and it's really, it's an 8 feet by 8 feet, and we have a nice big display screen, which is obviously, you can touch it. But really the fun part of it, and that's what this, we focus on the cruiser business, the electric cruiser business. It's more of a relaxed, upright seating position. It's more sort of beach.
I was going to say, you're in the perfect area for that, Newport Beach. So
yeah.
The variety of color swatches here is pretty outstanding, considering most e-bikes that I'm seeing online or that I review, there are maybe 2 or 3 colors to choose from. This is a wide variety.
Yeah. Well, thanks. It is. These colors here are really over the years, of the past 10 years. We've had a look at the trends, and what are the most popular colors. So we offer online. It's about 40 colors that are our popular colors that we have regularly sold, and that doesn't matter if it's for your fork or your fender, your chain guard, or whatever kind of part it is. You can mix and match as best you want. But you can also have the different finishes, the matte finish or the pearl finish or the metallic, or if you want to sort of like a shiny did spades, little finish on it, you just spec that in the notes and we'll do that. Having our own paint facility has really allowed us, you got your primary colors and you got your secondary colors, your tertiary colors, all these different. So we actually have a mixing facility where you can send us any color you like. I mean, if you like one of these, that's great. Or
That's
just
incredible.
A swatch like you do with your house. You just send us a swatch and we can match that. It's really helpful for branding, for corporate branding, Home Depot's orange or the Coca-Cola red or something. We can match exactly to the customer specifications. And then we can do the painting before we build the bike. So that reduces our cost significantly. We don't have to take an existing bike, disassemble it, then prep it and paint it and get somebody else to do that, and then rebuild it, go through the certification processing, inspection, testing. We allow that design experience to happen before the manufacturing process starts.
Probably helps you guys maintain a lot of control in the quality of the experience too. I know that in some automotive brands, having a paint shop facility in the state of California is quite the undertaking to be able to get it approved with all the environmental requirements and all that. So it's pretty impressive that you guys are able to do that and then keep control of that process right here in the US. That's impressive.
Yeah, thanks. Because we focus on our own product, we are not a paint factory for other brands, or we don't make wooden fenders for other brands. Because we luckily are busy enough to be able to have a dedicated paint factory for every part of our bike. We've got a dedicated, all these wooden fenders and chain guards are made for the circumference of our wheels, are made for the chain lengths of our bikes. So we can really specialize in making the best possible product for our bikes, and then again to get the economies of scale for the production, but then still offer that personalized, customized experience.
Yeah, and nowadays it's nice to have something that you can really customize and personalize for yourself, because I feel like everything is just being stamped out. So this is a great way to do that. But I've seen this showroom and this design studio you have here so far, but what else can you show me around here? I want to see more.
Well, thanks. This is one, this facility we got 8 models, and this facility here, we do 2 of those primarily, and that's the Model E and the Model R. So I can show you how we do some of our production here.
Oh, yeah.
We also have some of our battery, where we assemble our own battery cases and packs, and all our own lighting, and we do quite a lot of our own wiring and connectors. So that's our engineering department, which is quite something to see. We also build all our own wheels and do all, obviously you'll see our wood factory, where we do a CNC our wood products. And then I'll quickly show you how we pack our bike fully built, that we can ship it anywhere in the world. And it's really important that the bike arrives perfect. Oh. You don't want to be shipping that back and that. So our packing of our bike's also quite interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how many times where I've had a bike shipped to me. I still have to do some assembly, but then unfortunately there's damage that happens during the shipping process. So very interested to see on that side.
Yeah,
of things
that was a good, I'll show you that.
Let's find out.
Okay, good, follow me. We kind of relaxed here with our flip-flops, but now when I go in here...
Yeah, we're in Newport Beach.
We focus on the E's and the R's, which is really this style of frame. And
step through?
The step-through style frame. But what we do, what we start off with, is when the order comes through, is we'll take the frame down, and then what we do is we choose, depending on what the customer has selected, we'll do all the wiring. So we'll run all the wiring through there. That includes, we've got an anti-theft alarm system, we'll put through the brake lines, we'll put all the control wiring inside. So basically the guts of the whole bike in here. That's this process. This is really important, because once you start building on top of that, it's kind of a little bit more difficult to swap that all out. A lot of e-bikes have sort of like a little bit of a sort of rat's nest of wiring.
Yes.
And it's a little bit harder than it took us many years to get that right, in fact. So we make sure that our engineering department's drawings and the way that we put our connectors together and the way that all the different junction boxes are connected, we want to make sure that those are the right length, the right specifications. We've got the drawings behind that, so that also after sale we can actually then service it if it has an issue. So this is this process over here. This is quite important. Nick, being our manager of the facility, he stays closer to these guys, make sure that this part of the process is done right. Each station has a specific tool set. So the tools themselves, although you can do a lot of some different bike tools can do the same function, we make sure that each one of the certified bike builders have the correct tools. Before the part goes on the bike, each of the parts, it's of course certified, inspected, and so that this particular part, okay, we say, okay, that's good to go on the bike. And that goes for all the different parts that we have on the bike. A lot of bearings, they say, well, these are our bearings for a headset or our bottom brackets or for our hubs. There's the exposed bearings, there's semi-sealed bearings. So we only use a sealed bearing that is completely water resistant, waterproofed, and it's for the top of the headset and the bottom of the headset to ensure that, again, you've got a heavier bike, you've got a faster bike, and that it doesn't start getting a speed wobble over time, so that corrosion doesn't go in there. These are the small details that we find over time that really make the difference for longevity and then service and maintenance and repair a few years, many years down the road.
Yeah.
These are sort of unsung heroes.
Yeah.
This little bin, and this goes for each one of our bike builders. We got 44 build stations in our different facilities, and each one then, when they close, it gets inspected and it gets signed off by the facilities manager that they're all in order and they've got enough inventory and everything. Having the builders here that they can actually stand by the product, just knowing the fact that those have been tested, inspected, and sent certified to you it's kind of convenient, but it's also quite a good safety feature that we can offer by doing that.
For sure.
A little bit more work on our side, but we find that that's because we are from the raw frame right to the end product, we can offer that at a really affordable price for a really high quality product. A factory, you can understand. If you're in a factory in Asia somewhere and you're making a whole bunch of bikes, you get really efficient at doing it, and it's great to change it and to tweak it and to customize it. Is actually it's cost prohibitive. You have to stop, you have to then design the whole production line, you have to put it back in, you have to have runs that are high enough to be able to get the economies of scale. It's quite a trick to do. So a lot of people then kind of fall maybe into the obvious trap of just saying, okay, I'll keep the bike the same, but I'm just going to brand it a different brand. One of the things I really enjoy about you coming and taking the time to come is the fact that it's quite difficult to tell people, hey, we actually do what we say we do. A lot of people say, oh, we are the bike manufacturer. We American bike manufacturer. We say, well, are you really? Are you a bike brand? Are you a bike distributor? Are you a bike representative? Or do you actually manufacture your bikes? Now people say, well, neither do you, electric bike company. You don't manufacture every single part. Of course we don't. No car company or no one does. But we definitely do. We build the bike, we paint the frame, we build the wheels. We sell 2 wheels really. So we decided we will build our wheel the best that anybody else can do, because we only build 4 types. I mean, they're different colors and they're different spokes colors, etc. But we became the expert at building the most perfect front wheel and perfect back wheel, because the back wheel's obviously got a motor and we have a hub motor.
Yeah.
And we have to dish it perfectly, we have to tension it right, we have to make sure it's true right in front of the back one. So this is a whole little business in itself.
Gotta imagine, I can see all the different colored ones back here too. It's impressive.
So we have in the back there, we have a spoke machine and then a truing machine. I mean, the spoke itself is stainless, rust resistant spoke. It's obviously got the same kind of elbow, the elbow that we spec. So we make sure that the elbow is exactly right. The threading on the spoke is key because we've got brass nipples, anti-rust brass nipples that fit on there. To add just any old spoke, you then thread the nipple too far, the spoke sticks out, it then punctures your tube, or vice versa. It's too little threading, and then it gets a little bit wobbly. So this whole little wheel building department here is run by really talented people because it's such a specialty part, and outsourcing that we feel would compromise our quality. So when this is all pumping and we've got both spoke machines going, both truing machines pumping through, it's a whole business in itself. So at the moment we have 170 dealers nationwide, and we're a little bit picky about that. Sometimes the online experience, that they can trust that and they feel fine with that, and that's half our business. But the other half is the relationship that the dealers have with the customer, especially they just feel more comfortable. They get the bike, they design their bike online, they do the same thing, but then the dealer then takes it out the box, they know that it's perfect, and then they can fit the person on their bike, and they can just go through and explain, especially a little bit with the elderly team. They can say, okay, well listen, get your feet flat on the ground, you make sure that this is how the throttle works, this is how the pedal assist, and they run through that. So that's another half of our business. So it's about 50-50.
So what's going on in here?
Yeah, well, this is one of our creative sides of our business. We do a lot in beach communities where there's yachts and boats, and you often find on really high-end boats you have this nice sort of teak trim, wooden trim around on the boat. And a lot of our customers really enjoy the fact that because we build our own bikes, they say, hey, can you guys put a nice trim of wood over for our fenders or by our chain guard? Can you do something like that? And because we do our own bikes, we don't have to do a variety of different circumferences and all that. We can actually just specialize in that in our bikes. So we could make molds that fit with our front wheel and our back wheel. We can program our machinery that fits our chain guard. So we could take the price points from really expensive down to an affordable price point, but with the highest quality. In fact, we find that now, because we do it all the time for our own bikes, our quality is higher than anybody else can get it. And then the price point is lower, and our team become real specialists in the field. Well, we start off with two different types of wood, and we layer them. Once it's bent over the mold, then we hold it in there. It keeps its form for the front wheel and for the back wheel. And then once we take it out the mold, and it gets put on the CNC machine and then gets trimmed nicely, just perfectly trimmed. And then, like Gabriel's doing right there, we then sand it and smooth it out nicely. Then it gets stained, so it doesn't crack and corrode over time. We warranty them for 5 years, but it lasts a lot longer than that.
I actually have never seen wooden fenders, so.
But it still looks traditional, it still looks authentic, and it just kind of goes with the beach cruiser feel.
Oh yeah.
So this is Jack. He's our engineer that actually helped us set up and design the wood fenders and chain guards.
Those wood fenders are amazing. What kind of material are they made out of?
It's a walnut and maple. We use a cold lamination to bend them over form and then shape them with our CNC routers and some other tools.
Stunning, stunning. I'm like, I can't get enough of them. I don't see those ever on e-bikes, so very good job, very good job.
That we offer. Pretty proud of them.
For sure.
Jack's been with us for how many years now?
It'll be almost 6 years.
So 6 years. He started with us as mechanical engineering student, and then he's grown with us. He's now heads up our whole R&D department. So he keeps up to date with the latest technology, the latest trends in e-bikes, and him and his team. He's got a whole team with him.
So you do research and development. What's coming?
A lot of new toolkits, horns, lights, and new controllers with torque sensors, torque sensing options, a couple new models. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the works right now.
Very cool. I'm a huge fan of a torque sensor, so that is really great to hear, because although some cadence sensors are nice and they're pretty precise, hard to beat a torque sensor.
Torque sensor is the way to go. That's what we're working towards. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
No, they have so Jack's done the torque sensor, but on the safety features, we feel that because it's a spirited speed that you can go on a class 3, 28 miles per hour on pedal assist. We are really big on hydraulic disc brakes, so that we have the 4-piston hydraulic disc brakes, the rod disc brake on our higher models. But we also have now, Jack's working on it, we're just launching it now with the brake lights, the turn signals, the high beam, low beam options. What we find really important, and Jack and his team did with our display, is it has a sensor that will turn the lights on, an automatic like you have in your car. Also, you spoke about the welds. We'll have our new models will be coming out with smoother welds. So his team is really important. They just dedicate themselves to ensuring not only that bike stays ahead of what it is now, but then the future of the company is in Jack's and his team's hand, really, as far as R&D is concerned.
Cool. That's good, and he's still young, so he got a lot of life left in him.
Yeah, no, he does. So these are some of the bikes that we got R&D for. We got a mid-drive that we're working on right there. So I wanted to show you one of the facilities where we actually do our battery pack assembly. We certify the type of cell in each one of our battery packs. Then we certify to make sure it's pure nickel plating. We spec the BMS, the battery management system, and how it all connects per our models. You can get one of these for $4 and one of them for $400. It's really important that you respec this correct for your particular utilization of your battery pack, and that you can service and maintain and repair that. We got 14 engineers here that would then look at the spec sheet, make sure that all the connectors, all the lighting, all the waterproofing, and the way that it's constructed is done properly. Then once they sign off on that, then it goes down to the bike assembly facility.
So is this an example of where there's the battery in the basket?
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah. So we'll have...
So how much more range would something like that add to the bike?
It's about between 40 and 50 miles, depending on how you all set it all up. But the nice thing about, because we do our own battery packs, you can put one one battery pack there, you can put the next one and the next one. So you can put 4, but we put up to 3 there. So that would add between 100 and 150 mile range on any bike that you have with a basket on it.
And so that's not the only design of battery that you have, though. I see down here you also have ones that go maybe under the rear rack or something. Is that right?
Yes, we have all different types. So each one of these are spec'd to our specifications. So the connectors, the charging port, the power buttons, each one of our models. So since we have 8 models, a few of our models use the same type of battery. What's important for us is not only the battery cell quality, the battery pack assembly quality. We have spec'd our own proprietary way of charging our batteries, and they all use the same charger no matter which model you have. So it has, it has a fuse, the input-output fuse. It has a CCV, constant current, constant voltage charging. It's aluminum case. It has a cooling fan. It has your 3-pin plug-in. So so you're making sure that it just doesn't have the one plug. We charge our batteries to 94%, 93% of the charge, and obviously our BMS is discharged to just 2 or 3% more than the discharge rates. So we can offer an industry-leading 5-year warranty on our batteries. And we've been in business now for just over 10 years, and we feel that our batteries typically last between 8 and 12 years, because not only of the way that we set up the pack itself and the way that we install it, but also the charging of that
cycles,
of the battery. And so if something does go wrong, we do have the team here. So a $300 or $400 battery, if you know all the technology, you have the tools, the experts around, you can actually service that battery just for a couple dollars. So we can offer a way higher and more extended warranty on our batteries. And if there's a problem with the battery, they can replace it, put it in. This part, although it's only a $2 or $3 part, if you're not doing it initially in the beginning of the process, and you try to do it after somebody else has built it, that goes from a $3 part to a $300 process.
Ooh.
So, at least. And you have to have the experts there. But we have the parts, we have the tools, we have the experts, so we can support our product from the beginning to the end. And that's why we just focus on cruisers, just on our models, and our direct relationship with the customer and our dealers, so we can support that whole network.
Do you have a particular supplier that you work with specifically for the brand of the batteries that you're?
Yeah, we do Samsung. So we do the Samsung, it's an NMC, nickel cobalt manganese battery cell. We're still using the 18650, but we are working, which there's really some good incentives locally to be able to start making our own battery packs here. We actually then can put the nickel plates on. We can actually buy the cells locally, and we can put it together. We're working on that. That's something for the future.
Interesting.
Believe it or not, we only use between 4 and 5 ounces of paint to do a bike.
Yeah.
So a car's a couple of gallons.
Yeah.
So the nice thing is, although it looks all fancy and fun and everything, you'll see at our paint factory, it's just not as environmentally intensive.
Yeah.
But we have to have inlet filters, then mid-tier filters to filter it, and then when it goes out, before it goes out into the environment, another set of filters. It's almost, we always laugh, we feel that the air that we suck into the facility is dirtier than the air we send out.
Yeah. What's going on in here?
Yeah, we just actually moved in here, so we're busy moving. This is where we do all our custom paint of all our different products and all our different items. So let me show you inside. Basically, it starts on this side. Each one of the items goes through a daily process. So these are prepped for tomorrow. So we would take a frame. The frame would come in from our suppliers, but it's obviously just a raw frame. Then what we do is we sand it down, and then we prime it, and we bring it back in, and we make sure that it's all smoothed. We still are going to be smoothing out these welds. That's coming in 2023, but everything else is nice and smooth, ready to paint. So the paint finish is perfect. Paint is actually the most painstaking of the process, because just even a slightest little speck,
debris or anything,
is a big deal. So making sure that it's smooth, it's cleaned. So this is where the prep happens. I'll show you down on this side. Then Jeannie will get the order, take all parts and her team, and then they bring it through to here. where here are the liners being painted. So the liners will be painted, but whatever item it is, even to the stays, you know, like our racks, the stays to hold the rack together all need to be painted. Here's a pearl finish. So they can choose any type of paint that they have, and they can send us the specifications. Then we take the paint mixtures. We get a computer-generated code, and it tells us how much of each of the paints, and they would mix the paints and the different compounds that it comes with, and they would then put that in the spray gun and then shoot it. So we have two different booths. And we've got our booth next door where we always had it. So there next door we'll be doing all our wood fenders and chain guards, the staining and the finishing of those on our other booth. Here we'll do our custom colors. We got top sellers and we got Project Beautiful, we call them. Our top sellers, this is a really nice maroon and a blue. But the trick to this, of course, is you need to match the fork and then the chain guard and then the fenders. This is a larger order, so we have the back rack, then the basket, and then the inliner, depending on the liner. And yeah, then each one of those vans that you saw driving across, they'll have the order. The order numbers then get taped to each one of these. And then they come and they take and they build them for the customer. Test them, inspect them, and ship them. So like you were saying, if you get your pre-packaged bike, you know, there's damages and everything, we can't afford that. So we spend an extra an investment in making sure that our packaging is customized to our particular bike. On a nice platform, in a nice box, then it's got ribs on each side, then it's strapped tightly, and then it's put on a pallet, and then it's sent to the customer or to the dealer. Now that's an extra $65 per bike, but the nice thing is the person's getting the bike fully built without having to pay someone to build it. So we kind of offsets that cost on that.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of people would rather do that than
have to put the bike
have to put it together.
Yeah. So every day between 2 and 3 o'clock, we have all our bikes lined up, all back here, all pre-packaged. And then the delivery guy comes, picks them all up, puts them in his truck, and then ships them around the world. Yeah. So.
Give us an idea of how you started this company, because that name...
The name is probably it's a real good asset for us, having the electricbikecompany.com. Obviously helps with searches. It was quite an evolutionary process. We started with a couple of names before we got to Electric Bike Company, but almost 9 years ago now, we settled on the Electric Bike Company, and we're proud to have the name. And now we try to live up to the name too. The brand is really important to us, and the name and everything we stand for.
So tell me a little bit more about the scale, because we've been to several facilities and we've seen a lot of your employees here, so it's got to be a pretty big operation now, right?
Yeah, it started basically in 1,500 square feet. Now we've got almost 100,000 square feet of operating facilities, plus our 2 showrooms and some of our storage, our warehousing space. We've got over 100 employees now. We've got about 170 dealers that we work with. We do half of our sales are direct to consumer, half are to our dealers. And we started just doing a couple bikes a week, and now we can do anywhere between 150 to about 300 bikes a week. And this year we'll probably finish at about $25 million.
Wow, that's a big deal. So with all that in mind, we have these facilities and expansion, what seems like is just continuing to iterate for you guys. What's the future hold for you?
Well, no one knows really, I suppose, what it holds. I'm hoping that we become more solidified in our space as the most premium and sought after electric cruiser brand in the country.
So how many bikes would you say that you've made so far?
I would say between 75,000 and 100,000.
That is so cool, and what you're doing here is absolutely amazing, and we appreciate you taking the time to have us here to explore the facilities and learn all about what you guys are doing here.
Well, I'm glad you like it, and I wanted to actually ask you what What do you think, if you had to choose one of our models, what would that be?
Well, I tend to go for things that are a little bit more rugged, so I'd probably go with the Model R, I would say.
Ah, good. Well, we have some news. We looked back at Miss GoElectric, and we love the logo, we love the color, and because we can match any color, we are in the process of matching your beautiful colors of your logo, and we will be sending you a beautiful bike, and would love to hear your feedback.
Oh my gosh, yes, this is so awesome. I cannot wait to review a custom Miss GoElectric bike. That is so cool. Thank you so much. Well, that was just the cherry on top now, wasn't it? Well, thank you guys so much for watching this segment. We really appreciate it. And until next time, drive, fly, ride. Go electric.